Every day, you wake up as your own boss, making your own way. Every day, you continue your journey to change the world, your team, and yourself. Every day, you encourage, congratulate, celebrate, and reach toward your goal of being the best and providing the best. The Build Your Best Business Show is for you. The real stories of building a business from other owners and founders along the journey. Find the support and advice you need to successfully start, grow, manage, and exit your business. What are you going to do today to build your best business?
Welcome to Build Your Best Business. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. Build Your Best Business focuses on the entrepreneurial journey. What does it take to successfully start, manage, grow, and eventually exit a business? We're talking to Nick Smoot. He is founder and executive director at Mountain Man Ventures.
Correct.
I could not be part of Mountain Man Ventures.
Well, we could help.
I can't grow the beard.
Yeah.
I don't have the ability. It's not going to happen.
Maybe a mustache?
No,
not even a mustache.
Yeah,
okay.
I think I've got too much Indian blood.
Okay.
No, seriously, you don't.
I know. I'm like Puerto Rican Italian, so it had to be hairy. We're going for it.
So tell us about what Mountain Man Ventures does.
Yeah. So Mountain Man Ventures, we're an early stage fund.
Okay.
And we went with the name Mountain Man with this idea of looking for the opportunity in the woods, kind of when everyone was going west, how they'd go and find the promised land.
Yeah.
So our deal flow primarily comes out of small markets that a lot of other VCs aren't paying attention to.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we do. Once we're in, though, we take a pretty active role as well in helping them scale and grow, like hopefully most good VCs do.
Yeah, and I focus primarily on the Southeast. So I look at
Right.
Chattanooga, Charleston, Nashville, Asheville, some wildcrafting startups out of that area.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are based out of?
We're in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we're in the mountains.
Oh, wow, all right.
Legitimately. But we do deal flow. We've done some investments, Portland. Our portfolio is pretty split of a lot in the North Idaho area, but then quite a bit Estonia, Portland. We have one in London.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this? What's your background prior to this?
Yeah, background, I started, if we want to go way, way back, I started doing leadership training for high school and middle school kids early on.
Uh-huh.
And always loved the idea of a good story and people finding that magic within them to kind of unlock their power. Took that personally as well as to my own consulting for a bit and brought that to businesses and then started my own tech company. So I've done 3 and always focusing on mobile technology because that was kind of the major exponential device, right? That was leveraging most of the big breakthroughs in the mid 2000s.
Okay.
And then into kind of the later 2000s. And so I applied that to online education and did a tech company that was the first to be fully online in the space of psychology for test prep.
Oh, okay.
It's a great company now, owns about 97% of the market. It's the dominant player. And from there, went and did a real estate tech company where we were providing large photos on the phones rapidly. No flash, no MIDI files, and this is when the MLS was only giving you a few photos and they're very small.
Right, yeah.
So it was a loved brand by the consumer and the realtors, needless to say. So sold my ownership in the first one back to the other founders. I was one of the 3. Second one we sold to a group out of Philly. Okay. So moved to Philly, did my buyout out there, and then we started another company, same partner actually on the last 2.
Yeah.
Down in Los Angeles, we started one that was an app platform called Here on Biz was the main product most people know, but we did multiple other products and prototypes.
So where did the ideas for your businesses come from? Were they just motivation and innovation that you saw that you thought needed to be solved, or something that somebody brought to you that could be taken forward?
So the last 2 companies, absolutely. Yeah. The first one was more opportunistic. I had built kind of a personal mission and still doing so now that I'm on the other side of the table, kind of a little Marxister there. But I love the idea that, coming back to story, it matters. And so looking at products of how does it really fulfill someone's narrative of what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And the psychology one was opportunistic to where someone said, hey, we're going to start the psychology company. And I came in with the lens of how do we really solve the pain point for the person using it.
Yeah.
Which then, going back, this is when companies were still shipping stacks of books. You had to lug them around, and we went on the mobile device, which was great for the PhDs. And we made it money back guarantee. It was a good product. The other two, though, after I was done with that, my partner and I sat down and we drank a boot of beer in a pub in Seattle at a German pub.
Took out a napkin.
Yeah, legitimately
napkin.
Sitting there and said, well, what do we want to do? What industries need disruption? And we looked at places where the mobile device really hadn't taken full kind of use, and we decided religion, politics, and real estate were three really sleepy giants that we could have provided technology to. And so we went with real estate, I think wisely, but there's still a few major plays to be done in the other two.
Right.
And then from there, the next time we were sitting down, it was out of a pain point for me because I was traveling during the buyout. I was in 40 states in 1 year. And
you were in 40 states in 1 year?
Yes.
Doing what again?
When the other company had purchased us, Smarter Agent,
okay.
They made me the head of the corporate partnerships and business relationships.
Oh, wow.
And so then I ran a team and was flying around, hitting all these real estate conferences, hitting all these events and meeting with our partners and potential clients and closing deals. And during that time, I came to this realization that I would be in a city, like we're here in Nashville, right? There's easily, especially right now because of all the events going on in Bonnaroo, the
CMAs.
Yeah, CMAs, and there's a hockey game, I guess, too. There's at least 1 million people here that don't belong here.
Right.
And of those, there's probably at least, let's make a bet, at least 500 I would love to meet.
Right.
Based on my business interests. And so I found that pain point when I was traveling, so we built a product around that. So it's more about what do we want, and guessing hopefully there's other people that want it too.
Yeah, and that's you'll see that advice often where, reading through, you and I are both NYC, and I'm part of some other groups, and they'll say often, find something that you think is a problem and build a product or a solution around solving that problem, and then you have something you can sell to other people. And you have to balance that, right? Because I've had other people on the show who say, yeah, I built the product and I'm afraid maybe I built it just for myself.
Yep.
So how do you balance that? How do you know that?
It's a great question. When we built, especially the app platform and the real estate platform, we knew our pain point and the generic pain point that seems to be a blanket statement that you can hold on to for everyone. When it came to features and functions, you just have to be really disciplined about not allowing feature creep and allowing your customers to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And you need to listen to them and look for the wisdom, but most often people don't really know what they want.
Right.
And that's why there's a gap in the market. So I think it's similarly for myself, I can't allow myself to create feature creep and be very disciplined in a very simple blanket statement product, I would say.
Yeah.
Helps avoid the creation of something that's just, made for me, custom built home.
Right. Well, and in the mobile space, in particular, the narrowing, making sure that it does one or two, three things really well, because that's what you're going to go to that app or that mobile product for over and over again.
Absolutely.
And you may or may not count on it for these other things. You may see that as a different solution.
Yep.
Yeah. And so as you decided to transition, or tell me, I guess, still staying in the vein of building businesses, like what part of it did you like? What part was more of a struggle than you expected?
Yeah. I really liked the idea that my partner and I, Alan, we could come up with an idea, birth it within months, and then nurture it and grow it. And watching that process was always so much fun and so fascinating to me, because it never was exactly like we planned, but it would have similar things. It's almost like guessing what your baby's going to look like, right? If you have kids, and you're like, who knows? We kind of look like this. Let's use the mashup websites, and
that may prevent you from having a child.
Yeah, exactly, right. My kid came out with a beard and back hair. It was real bad. No, but I love that part of the company and building it, and also I loved telling the story to partners. In every business we built, we loved partnerships because it really helps launch a company at a low cost process. But in that, usually you're going to, hopefully if you're wise, someone who's a much better organization, much larger, more powerful, more users, more people. And you've got to convince them of why this meets their pain point.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun telling that narrative to people in a way that would pull that light bulb on.
Yeah.
And then they'd want to promote and push your products out.
Well, and I see your background in storytelling be very important to that.
Yeah.
Because if you can't tell your story, if you just start off with the features and the functions and the, no, I want to buy in too.
Yes.
Even if I'm not the dominant player in the partnership, if I buy into it, then I'm ready to.
Yeah, and create something fun together.
Yeah.
I love that part. The part I hated or was difficult, I would say, I think it really came down to managing expectation, not only of our expectation, but also of customers and investors. And that's a hard thing to do.
It is.
And I think often why I think it's most difficult, at least I can speak for myself, I'm a very optimistic person, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of entrepreneurs are.
You absolutely sort of have to be.
You do. You absolutely do. That's part of the magic.
You're doing something crazy. And
it's never been done most often.
Yeah,
we're going to do something that never has been done, and we're going to make it work.
Right. Or I've never done it before, and I'm going to sell it to somebody.
Right. It's insanity most of the time. But managing those expectations are hard because you want to believe so deeply in your next step.
Yeah.
And you have to be a bit practical / cynical at times, a little more conservative in your planning. And I've learned that over the years to where, you want to shoot for the stars, but also prepare for your first step.
Right.
So I love helping other entrepreneurs understand that now, and also for myself as I grew in my companies, learned how to do that more appropriately.
So you talk about partnerships, and that's something that when I'm working with a company, I work with companies through I've got a consulting organization called Lighter & Works that scales businesses. So we take a business that's either stalled or one that's growing faster than it should, and we put operations in place. And when I start working with them, I'll tell them, you need to go establish some partnerships. It's a way for you to move the business forward. And one of their biggest fears is reaching out to those partners and getting them to pay attention to them.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything yet. Like, why would that person pay attention?
Yeah.
What have you done or seen work to get that
partner to It's a great question and a real fear, right?
Yeah. Right.
I've jokingly said, I think the best founders are ones that have some mental problems. Because
I think they all do.
Yeah, right. And when I think about for myself, I've never actually been afraid to reach out to a partner.
Yeah.
And it's because, and this is where maybe I have some mental dysfunction, but hopefully other people can learn from the dysfunction and adopt it a bit, is that I truly believe what I'm doing is a gift and necessary for the world to have. And if I don't believe that about my company, I probably should just hang it up anyways. And if I believe that, I need to understand that whomever I'm about to talk to, we need to do something together. We have to.
Right.
This is the world depends on it kind of moment.
Right.
And that's always given me the confidence to reach out, even if I'm not quite where they need to be. But explaining that, managing expectation again, but saying, this is where I'm going. Mm-hmm. You need to come with me.
Yeah.
And you can't take these risks, but I can. And for us, we partnered with Mensa. We partnered with Virgin America. I've been kissed by Richard Branson.
I saw that in your bio. I was going to ask.
It's crazy. I've not washed my cheeks since. I have.
Yeah.
My wife made me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But in those partnerships, it's fun. They take time.
Yeah.
But every single time, the step up to the plate moment, the email or the phone call, really comes down to understanding their business, their pain points, and how you're going to attempt to solve those at a low cost or no cost opportunity. Because when we did our partnerships, it's for growth.
Yeah.
And coming in, typically, people want some sort of money in or how they're going to make it work and leverage our platform. I don't like doing that. I don't want to pay.
Yeah.
I want you to understand my value. That's what I'm bringing. And that's a great storytelling art to have to do that.
Absolutely.
But if you obsess over their business and get to know their staff outside of the business, they will give you tips on what hurts, and you can figure out how does your solution solve it. And if it doesn't, go to another partner.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Don't try and fit it in.
So we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about you're here at 3686, so why? So
Yeah.
what are you looking for? What are you doing? Those kind of things.
Perfect.
And we got to understand the story of why Richard Branson kissed you. Like
That's-
you can't just leave that. You
I know.
can't just leave that hanging.
Everyone's going to be trying it now, and it
There
works.
you go.
It
Yeah.
works.
So I'm talking with Nick Smoot. He is founder and executive director at Mountain Man Ventures. You're listening to Build Your Best Business. We're coming to you from 3686 in Nashville. I'm Eric Holtzclaw. We'll be right back.
Are you looking to grow your business? Maybe you know exactly who you need to get in contact with. You're just not sure how to go about it. Podcasting is your answer, and at Briller Media, we make you the expert. We have state-of-the-art equipment to record your audio and video podcast. Plus, we take care of everything on the back end. We schedule your guests, upload your podcast to the top podcasting platforms, and we push out your show on social media, promoting you, your business, and your guest's business. How could they ignore your pitch after that? Briller Media, we make you look brilliant.
Sometimes, life gives you crazy ideas. Chase them.
Congratulations, you're your own boss. Now comes the hard part. It's not just about starting a business, it's about successfully managing and growing that business to an eventual exit. And along that entrepreneurial journey, you're going to run into questions and problems that you need quick answers to. Things like, do you need a business plan? How do you read a balance sheet? How do you talk to an investor? When do you bring on a founder? Or what if you're having problems with your partner? These are the types of things that you run into as you're trying to grow that business to the next level, and they may not be the things you want to share in public with other people. They're the problems and issues that arise that, as I have experienced along my own entrepreneurial journey, that I needed to have someone I could trust to reach out to and have a conversation and get a different perspective. And it was often those short conversations that would be the thing that moved me from where I was to where I needed to be. It's for that reason I created the On-Demand CXO product offering. On-Demand CXO is something that you can use to have a conversation with a trusted advisor about what's going on in your business. We do a 1-hour phone call to talk about your business, talk about your objectives, and understand what it's going to take to move you from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow. From there, you have ongoing access to a Slack channel to ask me questions in private about what's going on in your business, so that I can provide some advice or connections to my network to individuals who can help you solve against that problem. You will also have access to my Facebook page, which is full of other entrepreneurs who are along the same journey, to have more broad conversations, things that you trust and would talk about in a networking event. But when you need to go and have that conversation with a trusted advisor, you will have the ability to have a conversation with me in a place that's safe, completely anonymous, and unbiased. I want to see you succeed and build your very best business.
And we're back. You're listening to Build Your Best Business. I'm Eric Holtzclaw, coming to you from 3686 in Nashville. This is a conference that brings together investors, entrepreneurs, all kinds of people in the ecosystem of starting, building, managing, and eventually exiting a business. Talking with Nick Smoot. He is founder and executive director at Mountain Man Ventures. And we were talking kind of before the break about being here at 3686. So what are you looking forward to? What's your role here? So talk to me about the conference.
I'm really excited to be here. It's a great group of people. And my role here, I'm speaking about how do you take your weaknesses in an ecosystem and leverage those and see them as advantages, not disadvantages. I think a lot of people want to run off to Silicon Valley or New York, or they think that's the solution, and it's not. And shame on you for thinking you want to be them anyways, because they hate certain parts of their life, so be you.
Right.
So I'm going to be talking about how we build these platforms and cities that are leveraging their weaknesses well, and attracting a lot of interest, investment, and growth in the tech cities that we're building. And then also investor dinners. I'm here, looking for deal flow, meeting great people, partnerships, as I like partnerships.
That's right. Yeah, that's your thing. The interesting thing about that, making your weakness the thing that you focus on, I've heard that, of course, that's been around, but I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it recently. And so to take that focus, because we're so used to figuring out what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
I'm really great at this or that, or my area of the country is good at this or that, because I've seen it in that reference. It's hard to think that way, to change the optic.
It's not natural, right?
Yeah.
For us, we have two companies that go through this process. One is a consulting agency that does economic transformation.
Okay.
So we jokingly call ourselves the black water of economic development. We go in and do the non-traditional work and get the job done.
Right.
It's called Innovation Collective, and it's more of a grassroots. We come into a market and grab the town, literally the town, by the ears and look at them and say, you can be better. Knock off your mediocrity, rise up.
Right.
And we have a whole process that we walk principals, superintendents, school teachers, mayors, city council, the local business owners, the students at the colleges, all through, that really stirs them a bit. And we set some big goals for the town. And while doing that, we then start looking for what should the city obsess over. And obsess, when I say that, I don't mean that lightly. I mean change your laws to accommodate research and development, go after grants at the nonprofit level, the colleges getting new money for new programs. And the obsession is under this theory that bigger markets, even a bit like Nashville, I would consider this a larger market.
Right.
They eat off the buffet table of the economy, everything. If you think of it as a dinner, it's the turkey legs, the mashed potatoes, they have it all. Small markets of 250,000, 100,000, you need to specialize in eating the yams.
Right.
And do it in such a fashion obsessively that the kids at 6 years old are thinking about the yams and not obsessing about being all things to all people. And additionally, then what we do is we then go out and get all the big key players who love yams. And we start flying them into the town to do sabbaticals, to live there, to do summits, with the end game of an actual partnership where a corporate Fortune 1000 player pays to own the R&D coming out of that city a bit.
Yeah.
And that's where they partner on the fund, they partner on investments into the colleges, talent pipeline, which I think is an actual solution to how do we avoid universal basic income, reverse taxation, is that you allow these large players to benevolently take their bloat and they can guide it into a city where they know they'll have a potential of higher return in talent pipeline and acqui-hires.
Yeah, and that whole looking for something that you need that could be somewhere that may be cheaper for it to be built, which is an expert at it, I like that. So you're on the other side of the table, so you talk a little bit about, having done startups and been in that space. Now you're looking for deals to fund.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what's your evaluation? How are you evaluating? And yours might be different because...
Yeah, we're very different.
Yeah.
We throw darts at a wall and then pick the ones we like. No,
I've heard that one.
Yeah, the dart fund.
Right.
For us, we have a few ways we go about it. We typically know a lot of the companies for a long time.
Yeah.
Because Innovation Collective has its own purpose and it's its own entity outside of Mountain Man. And that's to transform an economy by activating entrepreneurs, rebranding the economy, importing the experts. While we're doing that, though, you better believe we have our people from Mountain Man who are paying attention and listening to the ideas. And we may see someone pitch an idea at a coffee and concepts meeting 2 years early, and they never see any funding, but we'll help them, put people around them, prop them up, and then there's the moment they need capital.
Right.
And we're typically their first stop because what are they going to go to SBDC and try and get money from the SBA? And no offense, but
that doesn't.
Right, they can't invest. They want you to come back with 30 years of financials. No startup has 3 years of financials.
And they're also looking typically for more traditional businesses.
Totally.
Something that's known.
Yeah, and they like to think they're innovation play, but they're not.
Yeah, right.
And so then what's their bet in a small market? It's a bank, maybe the lawyer, doctor in town who's already been burnt 10 times because they're bad investors.
Right.
So then they come to us. That's typically how we find our deal flow. And we also, those are typically at lower valuations. Not that we're being... plundering or rape and pillage. It's just that we're in a smaller market and they don't have the network or the access to capital. and don't need as much of a burn.
Right.
The other way that we find deal is when we fly in experts to these cities. They're typically around an area of interest, a vertical, and they're mentoring around, let's say it's robotics and AI, which we have a city that's robotics and AI. So as the experts come in, they also at times will say, hey, we got a deal for you to check out, which I didn't expect that. I expected the lower deals.
Yeah.
But we've gotten in some deals, we co-invest alongside of Daimler-Benz and Shasta on like Starship Technologies, which is the former founders of Skype. We got in on a self-driving car company, a lot of weird deals, crowdfunder, we're investors in crowdfunder, and all of those come through these deals where they fly in, and next thing you know, they're offering us a position because they think like we're this cute little fund out in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, oh, you guys obsess about what we're doing, like, come on.
Right.
So,
that partnership thing again.
Yeah, crazy.
You figured out the story.
Rise up together, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of conversation about jobs and where they're coming from and what they look like. A lot of what you're doing sounds like that falls right in line with helping re-engineer areas that maybe, that's my advocacy is you just got to figure out, again, how to take a weakness and make it a strength.
Absolutely. I think the future of work is dead.
Yeah.
Like it's dead. It's not dying, it's dead. And Oxford, they're all coming out saying 42% of jobs we know today will be gone in a minimum of 20 years, right? So work is for machines, creation and creativity. Creation is for the humans. And we've gone away from that for years because we were idiots and built cities that were unsustainable and lives that were unsustainable. And now it's eating us. Yeah. And so we're going to go back to this lifestyle in this world where the highest and best use of you is actually you creating it the most authentic place in you with people around you. And you might do art, you might do something, but it adds value to culture around you, into the system. And there's others that are going to obsess and add value to the economic system. And that's where we can't have diverse economies, I believe, in the next 10 years. They have to be very hyper-specific because we cannot win in a diverse model anymore in small markets.
So there's a book called The Fourth Turning. Have you read it?
Called The Fourth Train?
Fourth Turning.
No, I have not yet.
Yes, you need to read that book.
I will.
So it came out in the 90s, and it predicted what's going on now. And I talk about it probably once every 30 podcasts.
I like it.
But it's Return to Village, and it talks about the concept of village and how we built this industrial society where you could work 7 by 24 with electric lights and those kind of things, and the new economy. And they didn't know when it would. They didn't know when it would happen. So they just predicted that it would, that we were ready, and it was going to happen in 2008, which was the economic.
Sure.
But
it was the beginning, right?
Ubiquitous internet, mobile, all that kind of stuff. And so specialization, knowing how to do something. And if you remember villages back in the day, they sold specific things to each other.
Have you read Bowling Alone?
Yeah. I
love that we're having this conversation.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing. And
right.
So, very interesting. So, for you, what's next for you? Is it just investing more? You have something else, another company in you maybe?
Waiting for one to hit. I'm getting a yacht and I'm out of here. No, I'm joking.
It doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, that's not me. Actually, I plan on dying doing what I'm doing. And the thought is, I think, I'll say the end goal, which I think is actually underestimated, is that we're going to do 200 cities over the next 20 years for Innovation Collective and Mountain Man. So, Techstars kind of goes to the bigger markets. Right, YC makes you come to them, Y Combinator. VCs, typically you're marching your ass down to Sand Hill Road.
Right.
And so for us, I believe we're going to go find the magic in the cities that it's so hard to get to, but we do it through our kind of let's rise up together model. So the reason why I think that's there is the Innovation Collective also functions a little bit like a country club for entrepreneurs and leaders. And no one's joining golf clubs at the same rate. The Elks clubs are dying. It's not the same. And so there's this gap. And the Chamber of Commerce has missed it. So I believe we're the next generation of the Chamber of Commerce. And I don't think they can turn their ship. I think they have a role to play. But watch in 20 years, Innovation Collective will be in every city the Chamber is in a new platform model. And very physical, tangible, real property that people interact with about the digital economy and the future of work.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Hey, thank you for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great. So talking with Nick Smoot, he's founder and executive director at Mountain Man Ventures. You've been listening to Build Your Best Business, coming to you from 3686 in Nashville. Now, what are you going to do to build your best business?
Every day, you wake up as your own boss, making your own way. Every day, you continue your journey to change the world, your team, and yourself. Every day, you encourage, congratulate, celebrate, and reach toward your goal of being the best and providing the best. The Build Your Best Business Show is for you. The real stories of building a business from other owners and founders along the journey. Find the support and advice you need to successfully start, grow, manage, and exit your business. What are you going to do today to build your best business?